Cereal time, cereal time, cereal time, whoa.
The Crispix stays crispy.
What's up, cereal heads? Today we're going to talk about Crispix and Double Dip Crunch. Now you'll understand why we're covering both of them in a minute, but first, let's talk about Crispix. Now Crispix was introduced by Kellogg's back in 1983. You can see the first box of it here, and you can tell it's the first box because it says new up here on the box. Now Crispix was essentially Kellogg's attempt to compete with the success of Chex cereal. Now Chex cereal had a huge head start, first being released back in the 1930s. And in 1983, when this came out, Chex was still being made by Ralston. Today you may know Chex as a General Mills product. But that's because Ralston consolidated, they stopped making cereals, General Mills bought their products. It's a long story. Now I'm not sure why it took Kellogg so long to come up with a formidable opponent to Chex cereal, but by 1983 they had their contender. Now the gimmick they came up with to differentiate themselves from Chex was the process of combining both corn and wheat to make their cereal pieces. Here's a commercial from 1983 when this cereal first came out.
Discover crisp. Crisp as you've never known it.
New Crispix is crispy times two.
One side holds the crunch of corn, the other the crackle of rice.
New Crispix is crispy times two.
Two great grains, two crisp crunches for one wonderful taste. Crispix Cereal could only come from Kellogg's.
Only Crispix is crispy times two.
I gotta say, until seeing that commercial, I never got that Crispix was crispy times 2 with the X representing 2. Kinda clever, Kellogg's. I doubt I'll ever say that sentence again. In addition to that commercial, their early commercials continued to play up the dual grain aspect of the cereal.
Dad, which side does Crispix cereal's the crispiest, the rice or the corn?
The corn, son.
How do you know, Dad?
Because we're from Iowa, son.
I think the rice side is the crispiest.
Hogwash.
But Crispix is supposed to be good and crispy on both sides.
Both sides are real crispy. Tasty, too. But around here, everybody knows which side's the crispiest.
The rice, definitely.
The rice. Kellogg's Crispix is crispy times 2.
Those people from Iowa sure love their corn. Fun fact, I was born in Iowa. We moved before I was even 1, but maybe that's why I love corn so much. Anyway, let's take a closer look at this box. I love the clean, white, simple design. You got the corn and wheat there on the front and the corn and wheat there in the X. Now on the side of the box, they explain once again how the cereal was made. Then on the back, they show you a bowl of the cereal, and on the bottom here, lo and behold, they have a recipe for Crispix Mix. They even made commercials centered around Crispix Mix to try to win people over to their side from Chex Mix.
This party served delicious toasted Crispix Party Mix, and it was a huge success. This party didn't serve Crispix Mix, and it was... well, let's face it was a big flop. Serve Kellogg's Crispix Party Mix, because the perfect party's all in the mix.
Now, over the years, the box changed from the white box to a blue box. The box design changed a number of times too, but the cereal has stayed fairly consistent. And I say fairly because if you look at the ingredients from the 1983 box versus the ingredients from this 2020 box, you'll see a few discrepancies. Brown sugar in the original, malt flavoring versus molasses, brown rice syrup in the newer version, but I can confirm that this cereal tastes pretty identical to its original inception. Here, let's open up this box and take a look. So here's what a bowl of Crispix cereal looks like. You can see the two sides of the cereal pieces, one darker than the other. I'm sure that turmeric extract color is to help dye the pieces and give them a distinctly different hue. Now, since I'm in quarantine because of the pandemic, I haven't been to the grocery store in a while, and I don't want to waste the only milk I have left, so I'm just gonna eat some of this dry. Yep, it's such a plain, simple cereal, but it's oh so good. This stuff is one of my wife's favorite cereals, so we usually have a box of it in the house, and I'll eat handfuls of it as a dry snack from time to time. And you can spice it up by adding some fresh fruit like strawberries or bananas to your bowl, but it's fine just plain too. Now they have versions of Crispix in Canada, Australia, and the UK, but I'm not gonna get into those. All you need to know is that in 2001, here in the US, Kellogg's introduced Cinnamon Crunch Crispix. Here's a commercial for this cereal.
Okay, let's eat. Mom!
New Kellogg Cinnamon Crunch Crispix with a dash of cinnamon and a sweet crunch. It's too good to give up.
Mom?
Nice work, Mom. Very, very slick. Now, this variety of Crispix was delicious, especially if you love cinnamon sugar flavored cereals like I do. Unfortunately, this stuff didn't last on shelves too long, but the only reason I even bring it up is because Kellogg's claims it's the only US variety of Crispix ever made. But we know that's not really true. Which brings us to the second cereal that this video is about, Double Dip Crunch. Now, this delicious cereal was released by Kellogg's back in 1992. It's pretty self-explanatory from the name alone and the blurb here on the front. It's a cereal that was dipped in honey and then dipped in nuts. Here's a commercial for it.
Dip, 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 dip.
New Kellogg's Double Dip Crunch is dipped in 2 tasty flavors. Once in honey, and then in nuts. The best of both worlds. New Kellogg's Double Dip Crunch. It's 2 delicious dips, 1 great taste, and part of a complete breakfast.
Sports bottle. Can cooler. Sports bottle. It's both.
And it's free from Kellogg's Double Dip Crunch when you send in the coupon on the back.
Now you can see this is the same box from that commercial. It's the first box ever released. That's why it says new up here. And the offer for the free sports bottle on the front. If you take a look at the back of the box, you can see some more details about the free sports bottle offer. This giveaway didn't require any extra money or proofs of purchase or anything. Just send away this card and you get a snazzy sports bottle / can cooler. Now you might look at this cereal and say, sure Gabe, it's dipped in honey and nuts, but what makes you think it's Crispix? Well, one, because it's Kellogg's and the easiest thing for them to do would be to repurpose one of their existing cereals. We've seen them do that plenty and plenty of times. 2, not really sure you can tell from the box here, but the pieces had 2 different shades of coloring. And 3, the first 2 ingredients on the side of the box are rice and corn. So there's really no question. This Double Dip Crunch was essentially nut and honey Crispix. And let me tell you, it was so freaking good. I used to eat bowls and bowls of this stuff. It's one of those cereals I wish Kellogg's would bring back, and it pains me because it seems like it's so easy to do. What was it, like 2 years ago when they introduced a version of Honey Nut Frosted Flakes? I mean, that's just adding nut and honey to one of their classic brands, right? Well, they have Crispix still going strong. Why not add some nuts and honey to that? I mean, Chex has a Honey Nut Chex version, and Crispix claims to be their main competitor. I mean, the Honey Nut Chex doesn't have little nut pieces on the cereal like this cereal used to, but still. I mean, even Kramer from Seinfeld used to love this cereal. They called it Double Crunch in the show, maybe because they couldn't clear the name or the box image, but you can see it's definitely Double Dip Crunch.
Hey, you got any Double Crunch? You got any Double Crunch?
Check out the back of that box and you'll notice the same sport bottle giveaway. Now, eventually, they actually changed this cereal. They made a Double Dip Crunch frosted version, as you can see here from this box, where it says sweet new taste on the front. And it doesn't look like there's a mention of nuts or honey anymore, although that is a pretty nice Tetris watch there on the back. And here's the Double Dip Crunch frosted box that I have. And sure enough, when you look at the ingredients, there's no nuts and honey in this cereal. I'm not really sure how this counts as Double Dip Crunch anymore, although they don't hide the Crispix tie-in. As you can see there, it says corn and rice cereal on the box. But what are they double dipping at this point? Just dipping the pieces twice in frosting? Anyway, this inferior version of Double Dip Crunch lasted till about 1996, I think, maybe a little longer. But then it was gone and we'd be left with plain old Crispix until they introduced that Cinnamon Crunch Crispix flavor in 2001. Alright, well that's gonna do it for Crispix and Double Dip Crunch. If you never got to try Double Dip Crunch cereal, I'd recommend Honey Nut Chex. It's probably the closest thing to Double Dip Crunch, but it's not the same. Honey Nut Chex is a completely corn-based cereal. They don't have the dual-sided rice and corn pieces. But thankfully, we still have this good old plain regular Crispix. Are you a fan, or do you like Chex better? And are there any varieties of Crispix you'd like to see? Let me know down in the comments. Alright, as always, thank you for watching, and until next time, stay crunchy. So corn is the lighter side and rice is the darker side?